Like the fact that they're only talking about the fact that the rest of this coverage centers itself around like drug violence, like criminal elements in Ecuador, is only manufacturing consent for U.S. troop presence in Ecuador. That's precisely what they're doing here. Please, oh my God.
News tonight,
CNN has learned exclusively that Ecuador isn't just calling for U.S. help; it's preparing to host American troops.
Learned that Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa is
Yeah, God forbid you get like leftist motion in a country, okay? Time for American troop presence instantly.
flying into South Florida tonight in an unannounced last-minute
Classic. Of course he's going to South Florida, the safe haven for international dictators.
visit. He's going to meet with President Trump this weekend at Mar-a-Lago, where he's expected to push for U.S. support in the fight against violent drug gangs in Ecuador. CNN has learned exclusively that Ecuador isn't just calling for U.S. help, it's actually preparing to host American forces. David Culver was granted rare access on the ground, embedded with Ecuadorian police and military during overnight raids across gang strongholds. He joins me now. David, what more can you tell us about this apparent military alliance or preparation for it?
Right. Well, it's an alliance, at least, Anderson, that President Noboa is hoping to strengthen when he meets with President Trump right here in South Florida tomorrow. I mean, the president from Ecuador just arriving here late tonight, and it's rather last minute. It's unannounced, but it's
awfully suspicious that there is a presidential election runoff happening with a popular leftist lawyer in this presidential race that is about to take place in Ecuador. Interesting timing for U.S. troops to be present. Very interesting timing. Very strange. That's great. Maybe they'll go to Turkey next. Well, they already are in Turkey.
significant because it suggests that he is quite desperate to get U.S. help. And
okay, dude, I'm sorry, but this is like the coverage from CNN is also fucked up. Like no questioning whatsoever about what is about to happen. Like what is about to happen in Ecuador? Like that's not even remotely interesting in this conversation. Like not even a little bit, huh? Because it's obviously an interesting timing for this to take place.
As you mentioned, we spent some time in Ecuador, more than 2 weeks on the ground, embedded with police and military. They are urgent in their request right now. It is a situation that is increasingly dire. They consider it a war against the gangs, and they say they're losing. So not only are they asking the U.S. for help, but right now, as we are now reporting for the first time, they're gearing up for that help.
Yeah, Noboa is the incumbent. Okay, he's conservative, and this is Ecuador's right-wing president, Daniel Noboa. He's a U.S. citizen from Miami, Florida, and he is the failed son of Ecuador's richest billionaire oligarch who's linked to organized crime. Noboa allowed the U.S. to open a military base in Galapagos Island, and he approved the law that lets the U.S. military enter Ecuadorian territory any time for any reason without oversight by the Ecuadorian government. What the f***? What is Gustavo Petro doing?
La isla Galápagos en las islas por lo que significa. En un momento.
What the fuck is Gustavo Petro doing with the dude? I'm glad you're back on the news. Seeing you get your haircut made me feel extra poor. What? I got a free haircut from a friend of mine as like content. What the fuck did that make you feel poor? Make friends with a barber. Chatter, you can get it for free too. Oh, is there any way to feel less hopeless and less powerless about this? No, not about this in particular, I don't think.
The element of surprise is essential. They've got to move fast.
Abajo. ¿Cuál?
We're with Ecuador's army, heading into a gang stronghold. An advance team records as they move in first. Their target, a man linked to one of Ecuador's most feared criminal groups.
Al piso.
They detain one guy suspected to have ties to Fito, the infamous gang leader who escaped prison last year. Soldiers rip through the place, spotting an altar. Look closely. That's Santa Muerte, a saint of death, adopted by Mexico's Sinaloa cartel and now revered by gangs across Ecuador. We see the image everywhere. A lot of the gang leaders live in this area, and you can see some of the markings.
U.S. troop presence in Ecuador right before the runoff presidential election, considering that the previous one was like a super slim marginal victory for this guy, with a popular leftist opposition figure, is awfully suspicious timing, and any institution, any outlet that doesn't cover it, that does not talk about it on those terms is abdicating their responsibility. Like the fact that they're only talking about the fact that the rest of this coverage centers itself around like drug violence, like criminal elements in Ecuador, is only manufacturing consent for U.S. troop presence in Ecuador. That's precisely what they're doing here. Please, oh my God.
Aptoneros, which is one of the big gangs here in Ecuador, if not the biggest.
And this is the...
Bro, there wasn't enough pro-military, pro-police propaganda they could do in America. We've decided to do it. Oh God. We've decided to do it for Ecuador too.
problem. Ecuador has become the murder capital of Latin America, and they're now turning to the United States, desperate for help. Renderings shared with us by a high...
We have no respect for people, dude. Especially when they're like, the media doesn't have any respect for people. Like, that's crazy. You didn't even censor the rest of it. Like, god damn, dude.
High-level Ecuadorian official appear to show plans for a potential deployment of U.S. troops into Ecuador.
Like, what am I on Twitter? Like, this is insane.
Including a floating dock that jets out some 500 feet into the Pacific, said to accommodate up to 7 Coast Guard vessels. And here, details of a workspace and possible military housing. The structure complete with offices, beds, a kitchen, mess halls, and plenty of parking, allowing for a foreign force to carry out sustained security operations here, according to the source.
When troops from another country come, they come with resources, and those are what we need the most.
There were troops, U.S. troops here up until 2009, roughly, right?
Yes, they were.
And does that help when there's a U.S. troop present?
Of course, it helped a lot.
U.S. defense officials in the White House have...
Dude, how are people not seeing that, like... I mean, every country is Nazifying at an alarming rate. And America is actively helping with that process. Like, what is happening? Like, eventually people are going to be like, enough, dude. What the, right? I assume, like, I don't...
have not confirmed any such deployment, but Ecuador's officials are hopeful. For a decade, a U.S. military base in the port city of Manta was used as a key surveillance hub to monitor cartels operating in the region. But Ecuador chose not to renew the contract in 2008, forcing U.S. troops to pack up and leave the following year. In the time since, officials say cocaine has flooded into Ecuador, fueling deadly violence spearheaded by the cartels.
Today, we will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations.
Applauding President Trump's inauguration of organized crime, Ecuador's president, Daniel Noboa.
Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't think we have enough. Like, I don't think we have enough manpower to do troop deployments both in Yemen, maybe Israel, and also Ecuador at the same time, and also simultaneously take over Greenland. Like, this is wild. This is fucking insane stuff, man. I mean, this is... Are you kidding me, Hasan? What? Oh, you're muted. Hold on.
Are you kidding me, Hasan?
What happened?
We've got the greatest fighting force that God has ever created.
Yeah,
we could take over the world if we want to.
For sure.
Come on, Hasan. We can do this.
Trump the peaceful
We can do this. I've always wanted Greenland. I don't even know where it is on a map, but I want it.
Yeah, it's also cold as shit.
Yeah. I love Greenland. It's got a lot of grass and green.
Yeah, it's in the name, brother.
Yeah, brother.
You're coping. I'm coping. No, this is an overextension, chatter. I'm serious. I'm coping. Look at Iraq and Afghanistan. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
They're talking about sending troops to Ecuador.
For what?
Oh, well, the current conservative fascist leadership in Ecuador, who is an American citizen, by the way, is asking for Trump to send troops to a new facility that he set up for them, where they can do whatever the Ecuadorian president wants, right as there is an election runoff coming up, where his main opposition is a leftist lawyer.
Oh, interesting. How convenient.
Suspicious timing, which the CNN reporting on the matter does not talk about at all.
Yeah.
The entire CNN report, this is 5 minutes. We watched 4 minutes of it. and it's talked about how dangerous drug violence is in Ecuador. That's all they've talked about, as in to confirm that the right wing.
Is this? Wait, is CNN doing this thing? So
Noboa is not conservative. He's center left, not defending it, just getting facts straight. Oh, okay. So the leftist. Part. First of all, isn't Noboa tied to fucking cartels? What do you mean?
So is CNN doing this where they frame stories like this to make it seem like a reasonable thing to do? As in, like, if you're not tapped in, you read this storyline and you're like, oh, of course we don't like violent drug gangs. Of course. Why? Of course we would do that. So they leave out they don't do any like explaining of the context of the situation. So it normalizes this position, right?
Yeah. Noboa is the son of the richest man in Ecuador, and even Wikipedia and like American news outlets peg him as a conservative.
Oh, that's what's
And
called.
this chatter also said he's center left, while simultaneously saying his leftist opposition is actually a terrorist drug dealer. Seems to me like you might be a little bit biased. Here, this will tell you whether he's right or left. Yeah, I mean, he's a fucking taking office at the age of 35. He's the second youngest president in the country after Juan Jose Flores, and is the youngest to be elected. Noboa was a member of the National Assembly of Ecuador from 2021. It was dissolved following the Muerte Cruzada, constitutional mechanism invoked by President Guillermo Lasso. Before his political career, Noboa served in several positions at Noboa Corporation. I wonder why it's the same name. Wait, an exporting business founded by his father, Alvaro Noboa, a billionaire who unsuccessfully ran for president of Ecuador 5 times. He has been widely described as an heir to his father's company and fortune. Let's see what his political positions look like. Noboa has rejected the identification with both the left and the right of the political. Oh, he's a centrist. Broadly describing his political alignment as center-left. Some news outlets have described him as having a conservative view on financial issues and liberal view on social issues. He has been described as a centrist. According to Konstantin Grohl, head of the Frederick Ebert Stiftung's office in Ecuador, Noboa stands for business-friendly politics and conservative values. It could be classified as belonging to the right-wing camp. In an interview with Diario Expreso, Daniel Noboa, when questioned about some criticism for his lack of defined political views, he referred to the media outlet to the political history of his father, Alvaro Noboa, mentioning that he ran for left-wing socialist and indigenous parties against the right. What is my ideology? Center-left. Daniel Noboa. Noboa supports LGBTQ rights and denounced discrimination. Oh, okay. I guess he's not right-wing. My bad. Noboa is a fascist right-wing extremist. His military killed 4 children recently. He sold our biggest oil deposit to the USA. Also, his family are managing every sector of my country, Ecuadorian here.
So are we trying to take Ecuador too?
Ecuador enlists founder of Blackwater Private Army as ally on the war on crime. That's a normal center-left position, to hire private mercenaries, dude.
Right.
Yeah. Hire private mercenaries and ask for America to stage troops in the country.
Yes.
Clown.
No, I want to see what. Oh, come on.
What this
I want to
guy's
see what
gonna
they had to say. Come on.
No, I don't think he's calling me a clown. I think he's calling the other chatter a clown.
No, he tagged you directly.
He added me because he's
Chatter. Are you calling Hasan a clown or some?
Yeah.
Oh, he's been following since 2021. So previously subscribed for 1 month.
Yeah, no, he's a
AustinShow.
He's this guy's center left,
and
dude.
his wife, front and center as Trump took the oath of office.
That's our center left right here at the front and center of the Trump inauguration
in January. Back home in Ecuador, Noboa finds himself in the midst of a tight runoff election.
He's calling the
where
chatter clown,
security
yeah.
is the #1 issue. But for
I don't support either side. Ecuadorians are desperate to be safe from narcos, of course. Yeah, it doesn't seem like you support. Born and raised Ecuadorian, was a child during Rafael Correa. He fucked us over bad. Okay, but you're saying that, one, Trump, get your hands off my country. Then you're claiming that Noboa is not a conservative. He's center-left, not defending it, just getting the facts right. And then you said Luisa Gonzalez is a marionette for narco-terrorism. So the leftist opposition is a marionette, a puppet, or a puppeteer of narco-terrorism. So obviously, we just have to go with the center-left guy who wants American troops. But you don't want the American troops there.
For many, it's too late. Grief is sweeping across Latin America's so-called island of peace. Gang violence constantly claiming lives. It's become so common here, and yet locals, as though in disbelief, tell us over and over, Ecuador was never like this before.
David, is it clear what the U.S. military presence in Ecuador would actually look like? I mean, how would U.S. troops be utilized there?
Right now, they're keeping tight-lipped about the exact branch or units that might come down.
I'm
But
sure
we
they're
know
chatting
President
about it in
Noboa
some
wants
sort of
special
group
forces.
chat.
It's
Bro, listen to me. Noboa and Gonzalez are neck and neck in the first round of the 2025 elections. Noboa is at 44.17, Gonzalez at 43.97. It's a total of 19,756 votes. The very fact that there is a runoff happening and there is a popular enough leftist opposition candidate that this man is asking the American government to send military right as this fucking election is happening. If that doesn't ring alarm bells in your mind, you do not care about the sovereignty of your country. Okay? If you're Ecuadorian and you don't see what is fucking happening here, you don't want sovereignty. You want a right-wing dictator to rule the fucking country with the American mandate that he got. Not the mandate from the population, but instead a straight-up exported coup.
unlikely that he'll get those, and for that reason he's leaning on private contractors like the company formerly known as Blackwater that's operating in some of the gang strongholds, going door to door. Outside of that, if it were U.S. forces, Anderson, it's possible that it could be the U.S. Navy or Coast Guard helping with interdictions off the coast, or even just surveillance planes to help with some of the intel that they've had.
Yeah, no, totally. They fucking casually hired Blackwater, now called Constellus, which is his like 11th different name. American private military contractor, mercenaries, with Eric Prince leading the charge. Doesn't seem, yeah, this seems perfectly normal. And he's not using gang violence and drug violence as a way to solidify power at all. You know, it's crazy. Like I said, if you don't understand how this violates, of course I don't want right-wing leadership. What the fuck? Nobody knows what to do, but Louisa is not it. Okay. All right. Well, you know, have fun. We'll check back with you in a couple months. Oh, what the fuck? Anyway, I have to go because I have a podcast. Yeah, I have a podcast to attend.
The fuck?
Yeah. Bro, you literally said, let's watch Hogwatch.
I've been here for 9 hours.
You said, let's do Hogwatch.
I've been here since 10 o'clock this morning.
Okay, and then I finally had you on the stream, and then you fucked off for an hour.
Well, because I got a phone call. Very busy. I'm very busy.
It's like, it's crazy. This man gets to do one day of work, and all of a sudden,
one day of work. I had a sponsor on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I had a sponsor today.
But I'll be live tomorrow, and Austin will be here as well.
Wait, no, I'm not going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm leaving.
No, you were staying.
I'm doing my flight stream tomorrow.
No, you're staying.
I can't. I gotta go to Vegas.
All right. All right. Well, love you guys. Thank you, Austin, for coming.